Meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures. Precept upon precept, line upon line, precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line, precept upon precept, line upon line. Meditating them scriptures. UPK get with you, right down the middle will split you. You gon' cry cause you soft like tissue. Crooked ass cop on a bandit. My whole family can't stand it. My so-called friends of the world, they hate a nigga now cause I'm doing the commandments. My garment fly like a bird. See us on the corner, teaching the word. I'm a priest, the prophet of the ISUPK, home of the truth, and you hear what you heard. I roll with the crew, I know what to do with the OG, with the young stuff, mixed on with the new. Get rid of all the gangs, that's for the large army, no more red and the blue. Lines on you, don't be a fool. Raised in the streets, so you know I got the tool. No more slavery, we gon' rule. UPK is the Israelite school. These Christian pastors be lying. Rev Pope chop robbing you blind. Sitting in church looking for a sign while the money hungry pastor takes every dime. The white man is the enemy. He's my rival. He say God love everybody, but that ain't in the Bible. Meditating in them scriptures is so vital. I love the children of Israel, so I'm gonna keep it tribal. Meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures. Precept upon precept, line upon line, precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Israelite, my bloodline. It's all about my pedigree, my heritage, my lineage. Can't no devil get next to me. I'm coming down, I'm swinging on hoes, I'm bending corners, I'm still on boats. I'm the main attraction like a centerfold. I'm an Israelite and I know I'm chose. Coming through with that board up blue. French is swinging in the air on you. Got the shield of David and I know you saw. I'm on the pulpit of wood in the book of the law. Them devils ain't messing with nothing. Go on, watch your business, keep stepping. UPK is the only way, and that brotherhood is a weapon. My brothers is speaking in camp, holding Shabbat like a champ. The fake Israelites, they cannot compete. They tuck in their tails, they run and they ramp. Take a lot of courage to do what we do. That is the difference between me and you. I feel the most high in the judgment for breaking the law, my nigga. So what about you? I don't give a damn about no heathens. Ain't gotta give you no reasons. Enemies, they devils, they demons. They hell with them, and I'ma pledge no allegiance. I ain't gon' front, I ain't shit, won't quit. All credit goes to the most high. Lasha one for dash, for Rakatah, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures, meditating them scriptures. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Here a little and there a little, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Precept upon precept, line upon line.
All right. Shalom, Yashala. This is the ISUPK, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York in 1969. We are under Commander General Yohana. We are here to teach the truth of the Bible and that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the real true Jews and Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And today, we got to talk about something that this world is definitely in a craze about right now. You see it in the media. You see it on TV. You see it in the news articles, on the social media, everywhere you look. Believe it or not, this is something that dictates what we see every single day, almost like it's on purpose. What are we talking about? We're talking about racism. Everything tends to come down to race. We see this every single day in our lives. We see it on the street when a black man gets shot by a police, and then protesters try to stand up for that life of that man and then end up getting you know what I'm saying, murdered in the process. We see these things happening every single day. But why is this happening? Why would the Most High allow this to happen? And who does the Most High side with in situations like this? Does the Most High not prefer anyone over anyone else? These are questions that the church will not answer, or at least they'll try to answer it, but it will be incorrect because it does not go according to the scriptures. So, what we do in the Israelite School of Universal Practice, Salakia, the Universal School of Practical Knowledge, what we do is that we actually go into the precepts and bring out the truth of the Bible. We go into the scriptures and read them line upon line and meditate in these scriptures so that we can bring out the right way to think, the way that goes against what everybody thinks the program is all about. It goes against everything that we thought when we were growing up. And to come to find out, we've been lied to just so that we can continue to be tricked into thinking that everything is all fine and dandy in this earth. When we continue to see every single day examples, perfect examples, and that racism is clearly still present in this world, that all the derogatory terms that be used towards our people, the profiling that occurs towards our people. These are all things that we deal with every single day, but we better get some understanding on these things, because if we don't, we're going to fall victim to the confusion that is put on these media outlets. We're going to fall victim to the foolery that happens when they try to say this and that about this type of people. Before you know it, you end up hating your own brother. You end up hating your own people because everybody tries to depict your own brothers and sisters as the bad guys, as the demonic ones, when our people are just simply lost and they could do much better if they had the truth. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out the truth. We need to bring out this truth, and we need our people to understand that the Most High chose us so that we can ignore all the noise that happens when they try to say this, that, or whatever about our people. We can ignore and move past all of the depictions that they try to say when they try to demonize our people on television. Okay, because this is all for a reason. It is all a test, and many of our people are failing that test. So it's time to get into this Bible and study it and learn so that you could pass your test, so that you could pass these events from happening and causing you to make mistakes in your own life. So when you come into the school, in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, you ought to get a piece of paper. You ought to get a spiral notebook to write down the precepts that are covered in these classes. Title of the class today, this title of the class is God Prefers Only Israel. Well, we're going to find out why that's the case. We would make a strong statement like that if we weren't able to back that up with the scriptures to show the entire world just what the Most High has to say about everything going on in the world today. We're going to begin by starting off with the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. All right. Chapter 7 and verse 6. Let's get it. And I got this precept already. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now, hold on a minute. What we just read was something that was a very dire statement to make. This is a very dire statement to make because this is a statement right here that is claiming a very strong stance in something like race, when in fact a lot of people in this world think that it's about color, about the color of somebody's skin. It would be somewhat an idea that could keep you on track with what's really going on. But what's really going on is that this is something that deals with bloodline lineage. What you're seeing today all over the media is an echo of what we read about in these scriptures and the situations that happen in this Bible that have led to this tension that you see every single day. It has led to all of the events and occurrences where people are getting hurt on the streets, Black people and Hispanic people being held in detention centers and held in prisons at a much higher rate than other races in the same areas that they live at. That is not a coincidence. It is by design. And in here, what we're reading is that the Most High says that we are a holy people unto the Lord. He says that God chose us to be a special people. Just like how whenever you go to get ready to go out and have a good time, you might have clothes that you wear when you're just chilling around the house, but you actually got a lot of people will have a special set of clothes, a special set of shoes and pants that they only really wear when the situation calls for it. They would consider that to be something that is more important than the other clothes that they wear when they're not really caring about the way that they look. This is just an example to show you that there is something special about what the Most High is doing here with the nation of Israel, how he chose our nation to be somebody unto him, like the way you would choose your favorite pair of shoes to wear when you're trying to go out and stunt. You're trying to go out and have a good time amongst your people. You understand what I'm saying? Anything, and it doesn't have to just be about clothes. I'm just giving you an example. It could be foods, it could be your favorite vehicles, all these things where you prefer. Know that the Most High is making a strong stance right here because he is saying that he prefers a nation of people. And we're starting off right here in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. Let's read that again. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people. Now, hold on a minute. Now, what does that word actually mean, holy? I feel like people may not completely understand what that means. Well, if we use the Strong's Bible dictionary to look up the word holy, it literally says this. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. The word holy means sacred, set apart, separate. So the Most High chose the nation of Israel to be different from everybody else. He chose us to be sacred in comparison to everybody else, holy in comparison to everybody else. And there's a reason he gave us those laws. There's a reason that he punishes us for not following those laws, because the end goal that he has for us is that we become set apart from the entire world. It shows just how special we are to him, and how much more special you are when you obey those commands that he's given you. When you obey those orders and take part in your nation and come into the fold and be a part of what he had been building from the beginning when he first created us. You could take part in that. What an honorable thing it is for you to take part in that holiness, being set apart. The Most High created us to be a holy people unto himself. Continuing here in the precept, the Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So if you are not an Israelite, because again, this is for the Israelites that it's talking about right here. If I go to Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1 is going to tell you exactly who he's talking to right here. It says, these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness. So know that Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6 is not talking about the entire planet. He's talking to a people that the Most High chose to be special unto him, to be above all the other people on the earth. Now, what does that sound like to you? I'll tell you what it sounds like. But a lot of people are too afraid to admit that this is actually being a racist statement, a preference statement. If you want to be correct in this time where everybody gets all sensitive about everything, the Most High prefers Israel. The Most High prefers for our people to be above all people that are on the face of the earth. You understand? The Most High set us to be above all people. And that's the reason why innately our people succeed in a lot of things. It could be mathematics and science. Okay. It could be physical strength and ability, athletic ability. The things that we do on this earth influence everybody want to be like us. Inventors. You know what I'm saying? People that are doctors, people that come in and try to learn everything there is to do when it comes to different skill sets. Where do you think they get that inspiration from? They see us doing these things. They see even from Babylon to Timbuktu, when you reading in there and you talk about how we had civilizations that were set apart from everybody else in that same region, to the documentaries that we've been covering lately, where it's talking about the Native American tribes having a very highly advanced civilization. It shows that the Most High has been working through our people to make us something special, to make us unique. And yet, everybody around us wants to be like us, but they don't want to give us none of the credit for it. They want to try to take something and claim it as their own, whether it be the music that we make, from the rock and roll. Okay, well, we got Elvis to go ahead and represent it, and we're going to make him the king of rock and roll. To rap, where we have hip hop artists all throughout the 80s and 90s that had so much skill and specialness with them that they go and say, oh, you know what? Well, Eminem, we're just going to call him the king of rap. He's the best. Nobody can be better than him. There's a reason why they say things like that. They want to try to big themselves up while putting us down and not allowing us to be above all people that are on the face of the earth. That's why every time we do something special, they look at it in awe and inspiration. But in due time in history, what you come to find out is they don't want you taking the credit for it. They don't want you taking the credit for being great. And in doing so, our people have been conditioned to feel as if they are not great because of this, because of other factors as well. But because of this particular reason, our people think that we are not that special. They thought that our history began when we were conquered. A lot of our people don't know just how rich our history is. Well, if we go back to Deuteronomy and we find out that God is specifically saying that Israel is great, you need to understand the warfare that you're in, young Hispanic man, black man. Do you understand the warfare that you're in right now? The Christian church does not bring out scriptures like this because they're too busy trying to make you feel like you're equal with everybody else, that you fit in with everybody else. But the Most High did not create you to be like everybody else. He said you are to be holy and set apart from everyone else. You understand? And that's the reason why the Israelite School of UPK is so powerful, because it comes in and teaches people how to gain that specialty back in their lives, to appreciate exactly who they are and understand their identity. Now, we can't even begin to read scriptures like this without knowing who the Israelites are. This is why when we come into the school, we break down all these things. We have scholars in this school. We have a scholar that goes by the name of Captain Kataza, who just published a book that is on sale right now at Amazon. I just found out about this 5 minutes ago. We got scholars in this school, renowned men that are willing to take that step and become great for our people, for our nation, to become the best minds that our humankind can offer. And in doing so, that glorifies the Most High, because that is exactly his plan this entire time. And it doesn't matter how you feel about it, whether you feel like, oh, well, this doesn't seem right because it seems kind of racist. No, the Most High really does care about us. And there's a reason why we're the ones that are suffering the most. We ought to learn our lesson that our Father has given us, because as we read in Deuteronomy chapter 28, chapters away from this precept right here, that if we do not follow the laws that were given to us, we do not become above all nations. We become under them. We're not equals to them, even though they try to pretend like we are. Are we really equals to them in this world? No, not in this present evil world. Because you can see right now from the court cases, we're going to bring out an article today about things that are going on in current events, to the situations that recently happened with Astro World and Travis Scott and all them, that our people are shed in a completely different light so that the whole nation can back them as if they are above us. Well, guess what, Israel? The Most High said that you are the one that is to be above all other nations that are on the face of the earth. So what we're going to do today is we're going to keep continuing to go over these scriptures so that we can come into this truth and stay strong in this faith. Because in these day and times, we're going to continuously be tested, continuously be swayed to leave the truth and do things that are against the Most High's laws. But if you lock into this truth, you're going to stay strong in your faith, and you are going to become a special people unto the Most High, because he's talking about you. He's telling you to be great. He's telling you to be separate and holy. So do not act like you have a choice. This is who we are. This is what the Most High has said from the beginning. Matter of fact, let's get that. The next precept that we're going to cover is in 2nd Esdras chapter 6. Let's get that real quick. We are going to the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 6. And again, 2nd Esdras is the Apocrypha. Okay? So if you don't have an Apocrypha, you can find books like this to add it to the entire scriptures for the King James Bible. I just so happen to have a Bible that has it already in it the way it's supposed to be. Okay? Because just like how the media tries to lie about certain things and censor certain topics to make themselves look good and make us look bad, guess what? They did that to the Bible too. They took out part of the Bible too to make themselves not look as bad because of the history in the Apocrypha. Well, we're going to open up the Apocrypha and we're going to see what it says about us and how it pertains to us being a special people unto the Most High. So let's get the book again. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 54. There we go. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 54. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 53 so we can get the context of what verse 54 is talking about. Verse 53. Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. What is this talking about? This is referring to the book of Genesis. The first few books and chapters of Genesis, when the Most High created everything. We ought to understand the purpose of everything being created. And the beauty of having the entire Bible is now we can piece this together with Genesis to get the full understanding of exactly what the purpose for everything being made was for. So again, reading again, it says, verse 53, upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. So we know these animals that came here. All the things on the earth, from the bugs that serve their purpose. All the things that were created to keep this earth working the way that it should. That when this occurred, it says, verse 54, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Now we know that the Most High chose Israel, but we are iterating the fact here that from the beginning it was set that Israel was going to be chosen, that this was what was going to happen. This was the whole purpose. There was purpose behind everything being created. The Most High had this plan set from the beginning. It wasn't some fluke that he chose Israel. He created everything that you know and see and love on this planet so that we can rise and be a great and special people unto him. And that's what this is saying right here. It says, of him come we all, talking about Adam, and the people whom, Salakia, also whom thou hast chosen. Yes, every person on the face of the earth today does come from Adam. We know because of the lineage of Noah, who was the last man that was alive after the seed of Adam. And then everything spread from there. We're talking about Adam to Noah, to Shem, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are basic principle scriptures to understand when coming into the truth that can always be covered. And the reason why we're bringing this out today is so that you understand that what it's saying right here, when it's referring to the book of Genesis, is that the Most High chose Israel from the seed of Adam, from the seed of Noah, from the seed of Shem, and then eventually Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why everything was made. Because this was all part of his plan for us to be on top of everything on the world, that we were going to have dominion over everything that you see. that we were going to have dominion over the land of the planet and dominion over the judgment of everybody on the planet for the things that they do. You understand? But that is not where we are right now. Right now, we get put in prison for stealing a bubble gum from a store. Meanwhile, they don't see prison time after killing 2 people and shooting another person in the arm. Do you understand where we are? Have you woken up yet? When are you going to smell the coffee and wake up and see and visualize that this book is real when it's talking about these things? These consequences are real when we do not follow the orders that are given in these instructions. But if you do, there is much to gain from it. There is much power and wisdom to gain from it, and ambition and understanding to gain from it, because we know that the Most High chose us to be that peculiar people unto himself. And if we could stay the course, then everything from the book of Genesis all the way to the book of Revelation can be fulfilled. But we can't stand idly by and just wait for this to happen. No, we got a lot of work to do ourselves. And this is why the scriptures is saying this. Because it's starting that verse again. I'm going to read that verse one more time. Again, we're in 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Now that's heavy right there. That's heavy right there, because as you continue to read these precepts, and we could continue here because this whole passage is heavy, where it talks about everything being created in the book of 2nd Esdras. And then it clarifies it in greater detail than Genesis, because it's giving you the understanding of it. And here we are in the last days with the whole book put back together so that we could get the full understanding of it, and we could wake up to the truth about our role and our purpose on this earth. Verse 55 says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. The Most High made the world for Israel. It doesn't get more clear than that when we read the books for itself. Now you're starting to understand why they took these words out this book. Because it says too much of the same thing that the rest of the book says. And it even makes it even more clear and specific, to the point where they don't want us to know that we're special unto the Most High. They don't want us to know that we were created so we could have domain and rulership on this world that was made for our sakes. Again, it says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but like unto spittle, and hath likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. If I had a drink and I take a sip and a drop falls out, I'm not going to sit here and trip out about that little drop that came out. The majority of it is right here. Not worried about the rest. Well, the Most High cares about us the way that I would only actually worry about, what's going on right here. Not a drop or two that comes out the side whenever I'm taking a sip. The Most High looks at the other nations this way. And he says it in such a very specific way so that you understand exactly how he feels about the other nations. The same people that have put us on slave ships. The same people that lock us up and put us in prisons. The same people that don't know how to run this planet, because when they do, there's islands in the ocean made out of plastic the size of Texas. When they're the ones in rulership, there's dead fish all in the water from Fukushima incidents, mass animal die-offs. Are you starting to understand now just how important it is for us to step up to the plate? Because when they rule this world, these people the Most High referred to as spittle and nothing. Guess what? The world is a worse place than it is when we are in rulership. So we ought to wake up to this truth and come back into who we really are, because we are running out of time. We are to act like as if that in these days, if the Most High doesn't save us soon, there shall no flesh be saved. There ain't going to be nothing left to save. There ain't going to be no water left on this earth. There won't be no oil left under the ground. if it were to continue under the rulership of these people that the Most High refers to as spittle. I'm going to read that again just so you can get the clarity on that. 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but like unto spittle, and had likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and devour us. Hold on a minute. These heathen that are considered as nothing have begun to rule over us and devour us. When these books were being written, this was being written during the time of the Babylonian Empire rising and ascending, the Persian Empire rising and ascending, the Greco-Roman Empire rising and ascending. And we saw this happening firsthand as it was growing. And here we are thousands of years later, 2021. And we are seeing the result of them and their rulership and just how destructive it is on this earth. It says that they have begun to be lords over us and devour us. And that's exactly what they do when they shoot you with an AR-15 just because you're trying to protest something that happened to one of your brothers. Because you're trying to understand how crazy this world actually is, and you get devoured in the process just because of our ignorance. Just so that the Most High could have us as an example for the rest of us to see. Not to put fear in our hearts, but so that we can become directed back into our original form, our original school. Not to put fear into us to make us afraid of our oppressor, but to give us courage to stand up in the midst of our oppressors and come back to who we are no matter what the cost is. If we begin to do that, then we can be a holy people. But until then, you're going to continue to be drug dealers. You're going to continue to be whores. You're going to continue to go to church and not learn the actual Bible. You're just going to sing and dance. You're going to continue to get illnesses and diseases, from AIDS to the coronavirus. You're going to keep receiving all the plagues that this place has in store for it because of its own demise that it's bringing upon itself. You don't have to take part in none of that. Instead, you could stand up and be one of the righteous people on this earth by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments that were given to the nation of Israel. And the Most High is giving you the sanctuary to do that in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. It is not a coincidence that this school has been teaching this truth since 1969. And since then, all you're seeing in this planet right now is perfect examples of these classes and lessons that these valiant men in this school have been teaching since then. It all makes perfect sense when you have the entire Bible to refer to. And it all makes even better sense when you actually pick it up and read it. The scripture says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, because no one of these precepts shall fail. You understand that? None of these precepts are going to fail us when we follow our directions that were given in this Bible. Now, moving on, I just want to finish this up before getting to the next precept, because it says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. We're given into their hands when we have to enter their K through 12 school system to learn in the indoctrinations that they have in store for our people. They keep us deaf, dumb, and blind and learning the truth about ourselves, because you're not going to learn this history in a school. We're given into their hands when our children are having to be put into daycare, and while we have to go and slave all day and then come back home and then argue with each other because we could barely pay rent. You understand that? We got to go for them for every little thing. And even when we do make some cash, we still have to pay them tribute. We're paying them tribute. We're paying them more tribute than the Most High even asks for. The Most High asks for 10%. How much do they take out of your check? More like 17 to 20%. That just shows you just how unjustified these people can be. and that they devour us for every little cent that we have and every bit of our energy that we have. And that all the energy that we have and time that we have is spent making them rich so that they can live and sit on their ass and watch TV and watch their favorite shows and go to their favorite restaurants and buy their favorite cars and go to their favorite places. You're not actually free. It'd be foolish to think that you're actually free in this world right now. You understand? Because if that was the case, we would have justice for the things that happen to us. If that were the case, we wouldn't be slaughtered in these streets out here. We wouldn't be slaughtering each other out in these streets out here. Remember, this is a brotherhood class. And what you're learning right now is that God is the God of brotherhood. God is the Lord of hosts. And he is the one that prefers Israel. So don't be surprised when you come to find out that he's been punishing you because he's training you to be better. A lot of our people out here always wonder when's the Black and Hispanic community going to do better and become better. Instead, how about you focus on yourself? Why don't you start there? Because the Most High created this whole earth, this whole entire earth for you. And it's up for the taking. But yet you want to stay idle-minded and ignore these facts and ignore these truths and turn away your ear from hearing these classes. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be locked in. You should be right here next to me, reading for me. You understand that? Because when we start to put the effort in, it becomes contagious amongst our people. And that's what it takes to build a kingdom on this earth. Verse 57, again, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Well, I'll tell you how long it's going to last. It's going to last until we get right. That the world is not going to just give us our possession. We have to earn it back because we were the ones that fell off from our inheritance. We were the ones that broke our creed with our Heavenly Father that was set to give us dominion over the world. But when we don't do that, we see the complete opposite. We are the ones that get devoured out here in this world. We are the ones that are in poverty with all the illnesses that come with that, with all the mental sickness that comes with that, the stress, the anguish. You understand? This is what we deal with every single day as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And in the Isupk, brotherhood is what we learn. We're learning right now that the Most High is doing this for us because he is showing brotherhood to us, fatherhood to us. And he made everything for our sakes. So who are we to take that for granted? We ought to take advantage over every chance we get to become righteous again. We got to take advantage over every chance we get to repent and really come back to his good graces by keeping the orders that he gave us. Because that's what we ought to do. All right, we're going to be good on that. I'm going to go ahead and get the next precept. We're going to get the book of Psalm, chapter 147 and verse 19. Psalm chapter 147 and verse 19. Again, we just got through reading in Deuteronomy. The Most High chose us to be a special people unto himself. We just got through reading in 2nd Estrus. The Most High created everything on the earth for us to have dominion over. All the animals, all the land, for us to have dominion over. And he created it for our sakes. But he also said that because we don't follow his laws, that our oppressors are over us. They devour us. And they have destroyed us for far too long. How long will this endure? Well, he wrote this thousands of years ago, or at least over 2,000 years ago. And now here we are still with the same people over us. How long shall this endure? Probably not much longer, because now we're starting to wake up. Now we're coming back to our former strength, our original strength. And it was all ordained from the beginning for it to be this way. So stop trying to fight against it and embrace it. We're in Psalm chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. The Most High showed his word unto Jacob, who became Israel, who had 12 sons that made up the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You understand? He showed those things to us. He showed us the secrets to this world that he created, this earth that he created for us. He showed us these things so that we can then start our process of coming back into being in power. It says also that as for his judgments, they have not known them. Just like how when you're a parent with some kids, right? And those kids go out and they do their thing and they're out past the time when they were told to come back home. You told them to be home before 7:30 and they come in at 8:30. And what are you going to do? You're going to get after them. You're not going to go and yell at all the other kids because they're not home, because you did not give those kids an order to be home. You gave your kids an order and they didn't follow it. And because of that, they received the judgment that you had set in place for them for not following that order. This is no different. The Most High is our Heavenly Father, and He's disciplining us because He chose us to be a special people. He gave us laws, and in the book of Deuteronomy, like we keep reading to you guys, we are seeing the consequences for not following these laws, the curses for not following these laws. He created you to fight against your weaknesses so that you can actually stand up and do the right thing for once. How many lives is it going to take? How long will you have to endure that pain and suffering before you realize that you really don't have a choice? Yeah, I mean, technically you do, but it's only going to lead to more pain and suffering, which you're going to complain about anyways. So why even go through that? Why even go through that hell and poverty and pain when you could just come back and follow what he told us from the beginning? It says he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Verse 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. As for his judgments, the other people, they don't get judged the way that Israel gets judged. You understand? They don't have to deal with the pain and suffering that we've had to deal with. We've dealt with hundreds of years of slavery, and this is just one of the slaveries. We were in other slaveries too. Pretty much every nation that he could put over us, he's put over us because we are like stubborn children that he sees the potential in, and yet that child continues to disobey him. So he's going to keep punishing us until we actually obey him. You know why? Because the end result is something that he knew was going to happen. He already knows that we're going to be great. It's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to be part of that 1/3 that becomes great. You understand? You're not going to be weak-minded to give in to everything in the world anymore. This week, the world is gearing up for Thanksgiving. It's gearing up for Christmas. All of this to benefit the monetary gain of our oppressor. So how did they devour us? They devoured us by putting us into slavery. They devoured us by taking our land away from us. They devoured us by assimilating us into their culture and keeping us from following our own culture. Adawan, that's right. Like when they took over the land of Israel in 70 AD, when they took over the land of Israel under the Assyrians, they devoured us when they took us in and forced us to their will, forced us to live the way they wanted to live. And that's the repercussion of us trying to live the way we wanted to live instead of the way the Most High told us to follow him. That we lost our unity and the Most High made us pay for it. We paid for it in blood for generations and ages. Now we have the chance to come back to it. We've suffered long enough, wouldn't you think? And everybody out there in the world is confused about what's going on right now, losing hope, losing faith, while everybody in this Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge embraces this future because we see it so clearly. Men in here are so valiant when it comes to standing up for doing the right thing, standing up for this truth, preventing our people from being devoured, helping our people return back to our culture. There is nothing more honorable than that because it is warfare. And here you are sitting at home playing video games, trying to get a feeling of glory. You do things like that because you want to feel glory. You play sports, you go to school, try to get good grades to get a good paying job because you're seeking glory. You're seeking some form of fulfillment for accomplishing a goal. There is no better goal to accomplish than waking up our nation. There is no better thing to aspire to than to follow the Most High's orders that He gave us from the beginning of time. That He knew we were going to break them, but He also knew that we were going to fix those mistakes. This is why He chose us to be above all people over the face of the world, because the Most High showed brotherhood to us. And when we lack that brotherhood, we lack that vision. We lack that spirit that the Most High can offer us to give us the courage to continue to fight against ourselves, against our selfishness. That's what they do. They divide us and conquer us. They ain't been no different. Verse 20 says again, He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for His judgments, they have not known them. He also said in the verse above that, He said that He showeth His word unto Jacob, His statutes and His judgments unto Israel. Let's hold that. I'm going to get Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24, just to reiterate the fact that the Old Testament does not disagree with the New Testament. Matthew chapter 15 verse 24 simply says this. Salaki, let me get Matthew chapter 10 and verse 5. They both say the same thing. It says, These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. So the Most High, what the Christ is telling them not to go to the other nations. You know why? Because we just read it. In the book of Psalms, it says, He showeth His word unto Jacob, His statutes and His judgments unto Israel. Christ read those words. Christ knew what those words actually meant. This is why He only sent His soldiers, His disciples, to the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. It says, And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Dominion over the earth is at hand, Israel. This is what the 12 disciples were to say all those years ago. How much closer do you think we are to the kingdom of heaven being at hand right now? Right now. We look at time like it's some great thing because we look at the time span of our lives that we live on this earth as a very short time. But the Most High has a more grandiose vision. Christ saw the bigger picture. He was able to zoom out and say, you know what? Time is at hand. Because the world's been around for a long time. The earth has been around for a long time. It was created for our sakes. Who knows how long ago? Thousands, millions, whatever it actually is a very long time ago. So 2,000 years isn't really a whole lot of time. He said the kingdom of heaven was at hand 2,000 years ago. And here we are over here seeing the world falling apart under the rulership of these heathens that rule over us, that devour us. Again, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, meaning go only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why is that? Because the kingdom of heaven is only for Israel. because God prefers only Israel. That's what it really says right here. That's what it's actually saying in this book. I hate to break it to you if you're a soft Christian that doesn't understand this stuff, that thinks that the whole world is just going to hold hands and get along and sing kumbaya. No, it ain't going to be like that. It ain't ever going to be like that. You saw the first example of that in Genesis chapter 10 at the Tower of Babel, where everybody tried to come together and the Most High said, y'all ain't doing that. What makes you think it's going to be any different now? Huh? There really is not, the Most High is not changing at all. He said the same thing then. He's saying the same thing now. It's the same program. That's exactly why Christ was with the program. And he already knew what to do. He said, my boys, y'all need to go to only where our people are. You know why? Because Psalm chapter 147, verse 19, it says that he showed his word unto Jacob, to Israel. He didn't literally say that, but I mean, this is a scripture that backs up why he said that, right? Why the Most High would say that the other nations were like unto a drop of a bucket, like unto spittle. You know what I'm saying? Like the Most High really has this the way that it is. He chose for us to be a special people, right? So that was Matthew chapter 10 and verse 5. Matthew chapter 15 and 24 says the exact same thing, but it really hits home on what it's talking about. 15 verse 24 says, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Christ was not sent to any other people but to Israel, man. Because that goes exactly with what Deuteronomy said. That goes exactly with what 2nd Estrus said and what Psalm chapter 147 said. Because that's what the whole Bible says. Those are just 3 precepts to give you an example. But we could go through this book all day and see that that is exactly what the truth is when it comes to who the Most High prefers. But we don't want to believe it because we're too busy dancing and singing in the church. We don't want to think about those things because we're just waiting to see if the Dallas Cowboys win a damn football game on Sunday. That you want to see that you can't wait to see the Cowboys go against who they playing? I don't even know who they playing. The Raiders on Thanksgiving. You're blind. You're bamboozled. All you really care about is being a consumer in this society rather than a thinker for yourself. But you are much more than that. You are to be more separate and holy than that. We are to not give ourselves and our minds to completely be devoured by this place and all of its distractions. We ought to continue to fight to make our mind as perfect as it can. You know why? Because Christ was sent for us. The black man, the Hispanic man, the Native American man. Those very same people that are dropped underfoot and downtrodden by our oppressors. We got thousands of migrants coming from Mexico right now to the border. And the first thing that they did was deploy thousands of U.S. soldiers to handle that in the case things get out of hand. And I can assure you, things will most likely get out of hand. Not unless we have something to say about it. Because they already saw what happened at the border of Del Rio when the Haitians came out there and they looked like they did not have it under control and they were not prepared because they don't give a dang about none of us. You understand? This is the world that we're living in right now. With all these things happening, it's only solidifying these books to be true. And that they continue to try to make themselves look good while making us look like we're desperate, look like we're looters and rioters, look like we're animals that can't be tamed. Well, guess what? The Most High actually has you to be his favorite people on the earth. We're going to read an article here. I went ahead and grabbed this article. Yo, I want you to check this out. This is an article that I'm going to read about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The title of the article is Verdict in Kyle Rittenhouse Case Pulls Back Curtain on Racial Bias in Our Legal System. This is not a surprise. Let's read. The article starts off, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. It says it like a million times. That was the first sentence of the article. Let that embed in your mind real quick. The verdict there. It says, as the 5 acquittals were read on Friday, clearing Kyle Rittenhouse of all charges in the killings of 2 men and the wounding of a third during a protest against the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. The judge presiding over the case praised the 12 jurors for their attentiveness, saying he couldn't have asked for a better jury. What is he really saying right there? He couldn't have asked for a more biased jury. He couldn't have asked for a more supportive jury for what his goal was, and that was to get him off of that case, to make sure that their system still showed support for them rather than us. Because mind you, Jacob Blake was shot by a policeman, right? What happened with that cop? What happened with all the people associated with that terrible act that happened? They get off scot-free while we are dead in the ground. And then people that support those policemen, people that support the things that they did, get off again for killing the people that protested against what happened. When the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we do not protest like that. We don't protest in a way that we're going to get shot in a legal way. You understand? We're doing things the right way because we're bringing out this truth and we're continuing to stand strong in the face of adversity, in the face of the hatred and animosity and the outrageousness that is completely clearly seen in this world. Come on, man. What more do we need to see? Reading on in the article. Since the racial justice protests following the police murder of George Floyd last summer, much attention has focused on racially biased policing. But the past week of trials for Rittenhouse and the men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia have pulled back the curtain on a critical but often hidden driver of bias in our legal system, the courts. Typically, courtroom drama happens out of the public eye, but the Rittenhouse case was televised on cable news, with the country seeing for itself the machinations of the system playing out in real time. From the start, the judge in the Wisconsin case ruled that prosecutors could not call the men Rittenhouse shot victims, but defense attorneys could only call them arsonists or looters. Okay, there's the narrative. There's a narrative being set right there. There's the censorship being set right there, where they are the ones that are seen to be above all people, and we are the ones that are seen as rioters and looters for trying to feel something, for trying to stand up for something that was wrong, something that felt wrong. This whole place feels like that, though. Who are we to actually go in here thinking that this country was built to be fair, when we were the ones that were brought over here, when the tribe of Judah was brought over here on slave ships, when we were the ones that owned this land and it was taken from us? And you think that the court system is going to protect you or show you justice? All it's going to do is be publicized on television to show you straight to your face that they're going to continue to keep this system this way. That they're going to continue to keep that racial bias in this stuff. Because I could bet you anything, all the money that they put together for that young man that killed those people, they were able to buy really good lawyers for that case. They were able to buy really good judges for that case. You understand? That the judge was like homies with the defendant, man. Homies with I'm talking about like in a brotherly kind of way. The judge showed no kind of what's the word? No, that he was going to mark him as guilty. And that they had 12 jurors that were set up to protect this man in a kingdom that is their heaven and our hell. When that's the world that we're in right now, now you can finally understand why Esdras said that. Why he said, "How long shall this endure? That these people devoured us and conquered us, even though everything that we see was made for us everything that they're doing is trying to give the illusion that the world belongs to them. That is not true, Israel. We are here to give you the hope and understanding that you, your brother, your sister, your mom, your father, y'all are the special people on this earth that God chose to rule this earth. Not be judged by 12 and sent to prison for life while they don't get judged, while they get away with the things that they do out of leisure and fun. That guy went hunting that day. He didn't go out there to defend property and land. He just needed an excuse to go get a hit. He probably been at home playing Call of Duty all day and was like, you know what? Let me go see if I learned enough from this game to go copy that in real life. Well, he showed the whole world that he learned something. And he also showed the whole world that we have learned nothing, because we continue to think that our system is going to protect us in a fair and honest way. That is not the case. Shalom, Lord of Christ. We're currently reading an article. We're currently reading. Do you want to read for him? Come on with it. Scroll down. Right there, that paragraph. I don't want.
From the start, the judge in the Wisconsin case ruled that the prosecutors could not call the men Rittenhouse shot victims.
Couldn't call them victims. It's like as if they try to say, you're not allowed to try to paint this white man in a negative way. This young, at the time he was underage. He wasn't even supposed to be allowed to be carrying a firearm at the age of 17. You're not even allowed to call the people that he shot and killed victims. You're only allowed to call them rioters and looters. You're only allowed to call them animals and degenerates and thugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what is being depicted here. And this was broadcasted on live TV. Read on. Come on.
But defense attorneys could call them arsonists or looters.
What is arson? Arson is when you light things on fire, right? So they're already trying to depict these things as like a negative thing. Why? Because when you do that, then you start to look at this man like he's some sort of action hero. Like he's some sort of, what's that called? What the Die Hard movies with Bruce Willis? Like he's like kind of like he's Jason Bourne. Right. No longer is this case about people being shot. It's about a dude saving the city. Like he's Superman. You understand what the judgment, what the difference is here between reality and that imagery that they force the world to see when they censor the words that can be used in the courtroom. Read on.
Later, during the trial, Judge Bruce Schroeder allowed Rittenhouse to randomly select from a raffle drum the alternate jurors who would decide his case.
Okay, so he picked together his crew by random, supposedly. Go ahead.
In the Georgia trial of William Rhodey, Bryan, Greg McMichael and his son Travis McMichael, the men who are accused of killing Aubrey in 2020 for the crime of jogging while black.
Damn. Read on.
The jury includes 11 white members and 1 black member. In a county where the population is more than a quarter African American, the racial makeup of the jury came after the defense removed 8 black jurors from the pool.
Whoa. So you're telling me it was a rigged lotto? Like, you ever seen a lotto in the on the news? And you got your ticket and you look at, I don't play the lottery, but I'm just saying hypothetically, you're looking at your ticket and you're like, oh man, I hope that they get my numbers. What if they took your numbers out of that thing? Wouldn't you be upset about that? Because now you know that you don't even have a chance to win it. This is exactly what they did. Because they knew that the rioters, the looters, the victims, right, that were black, the 2 men that got killed, right? Both of them black, right? They got killed.
No, it was only Oh yes, yes sir, yes sir.
But the one that got shot was in the arm. Yeah, he showed mercy to his brother, right?
Right.
So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a rigged game where they took the Powerball out that said black people are going to win this justice, and we're going to make sure that in a city where 25% of the people in that city were black, that out of 12 people that were going to judge the case, 11 were white folks. Don't tell me this isn't about race. Don't tell me this isn't about the bloodline of Israel against the bloodline of Esau. Because that's exactly what this is. We're reading about it here, and we're seeing about it on TV and in the news. And we're talking about it. And we're living through this craziness. But let us not be confused about what it is, folks. The Most High prefers Israel, but because of our stiff-necked rebelliousness, we're going to continue to be downtrodden. We're going to continue to be put in a negative light to the point where whenever they kill us, they're heroes. I was playing with my brothers on a video game the other day, and it was the day that the court decision was made, and I even see on the chat all these white folks say, "Yeah, Rittenhouse, our savior. Yeah, man." Like they were cheering for their champion. It's that embedded that it's just everywhere. Don't tell me this isn't about race. You can't tell me that. Why do you think the biggest boxing fights are always when it's a black guy versus a white guy? Why do you think that? Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence? What do you think? I don't want. That's not a coincidence. McGregor versus Mayweather? Come on. McGregor versus Mayweather? You're talking about some of the biggest box office fights because it's that same premise, because they know the narrative sells itself. Because it's in our spirit. That narrative draws our attention. Go ahead.
It's all about that like the movie, The Great White Hope. Right? It's the Great White Hope. That they can just dream that a so-called white man can be better than the black man at something.
That's something, yeah.
Because they can't beat us in soccer. They can't beat us in basketball.
Right.
They can't beat us in football. Can't beat us in tennis.
That's right.
Right. So they gotta do something that they can at least have that they can cheat at. And that's boxing, because they can have 3 people up there that they paid, and they're gonna all say that such and such won, even though we all know he didn't win.
That's right. That's the thing. This case was rigged. That's the point of what we're reading about right here. Okay, read on. Where are we at?
It may be hard for those who are just it may be hard for those who just learning about bias in our legal system to understand how people who are armed with assault rifles and shotguns could claim self-defense in the killings of men who carry no guns themselves.
Wow. Hold on. Read that again.
It may be hard for those who are just learning about bias in our legal system to understand how people who are armed with assault rifles and shotguns could claim self-defense in the killings of men who carry no guns themselves.
So he shot unarmed men. First of all, that alone is dishonorable. Shooting somebody that's unarmed when you're the one that's armed. When you're the one that has the power to kill with a click of a trigger. And that you're allowed to get away with it because of your race. That you can walk around the streets underage with a weapon of war. Around the streets. And cops just look at you and wave at you like you're a good old boy, right? Well, guess what? A lot of black men and Hispanic men have those very same weapons. When we walk the street, it's automatically put as if we're like terrorists trying to attack the city. Like we're the wicked ones. We're the ones stirring up trouble. And I tell you right now, just like everybody else has been saying, had he been a black man walking around with the AR, I'm pretty sure there'd have been a standoff dang near immediately, right? They would have probably hit him. They wouldn't even took no chance. They would have used a Hellfire missile shot from a UAV on him. That's how crazy. Oh, wait a minute. That actually happened. Well, that guy was actually really just way out of it. But I was thinking of that other dude. I forgot. They actually did use a UAV missile on that dude. Was that one he had to stand off in the house? He actually went way off the deep end, though. What we're talking about right now is self-defense. They considered it self-defense for a man to drive all across state with a gun to walk around the streets where there's a bunch of rioting and looting happening. And he went open season on our people when two brothers got shot. And he cried crocodile tears on national TV to try to make you think that he's some sort of human being. When he ain't nothing but a criminal and an animal and now a proclaimed champion amongst the nation of Esau. That's what was really happening right here. And we're reading now in this article that they fixed that judgment, that it was fixed from the beginning, where they had the best jury for him, that they had everything set in place to make sure it went as smooth as possible. That they weren't even allowed to use the footage that showed that he was being aggressive to the people that were there. Nah, they weren't allowed to do that. They weren't allowed to call those dead brothers victims. Read on.
But longtime observers and critics of our legal system were not surprised. The deck has always been stacked.
Come on. You doesn't say more straight than that. Read on.
Author Roxanne Gay tweeted on Friday, I knew Rittenhouse would be acquitted, but it is gutting to witness the inevitable.
Yeah. Why do you think they put it on live TV? They wanted you to see it like a Super Bowl. It was like a Super Bowl for these folks that were backing this dude up. It was like a display. It was almost like them showing off exactly how their system is. Right. That it is designed to keep us oppressed and for them to be exalted and to be considered heroic. But we're talking about 2 dead souls right now because of this. Go ahead.
And she said it's inevitable. Like it's going to happen. It's nothing's going to stop. It's going to happen over and over and over and over again. Like it's been happening over and over and over again.
Now I'm curious. This is a question I got. Has Trump said anything about this?
Nor Biden.
They're just being tactical, huh?
But they're too busy. They're too busy helping the KKK gain membership. That's what they're busy doing.
They're doing a great job at that.
Right. When they were having the what would you call it? The elections with Trump and Biden. Mm-hmm. What Trump say? Just stand by and
right? Stand back and stand by.
Yeah, stand back and stand by. Right.
They became a meme instantly.
I got an article too to bring out.
Okay. Let me see. How much more is left on this one? What else we got on there?
It's just the rest of this paragraph.
All right, go ahead.
Author Roxanne Gay tweeted on Friday, I knew Rittenhouse would be acquitted, but it is gutting to witness the inevitable. Mm-hmm. To know there will be no consequences for the judge, and to know Rittenhouse and others like him will be more emboldened to be openly white supremacist vigilantes.
Wow.
It's howling.
Whoa. Yeah. These are people whose jobs it is to study the judicial system that are saying this. That are saying that this is not surprising. This is in fact going to embolden people to be white supremacist vigilantes. And guess who's the target? You ever gone to the range and you put the target on there where it's like the shape of the silhouette of the man and you're just shooting at it? That's you, black man. That's you, Hispanic brother. It's time to, why do you think I'm wearing body armor? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe I ought to walk around everywhere in body armor. Who knows? It wouldn't hurt. If anything, may even save me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this. But my point is to say it's not racist, to say that it's not, dealing with bloodline lineage, that's foolish, man. When this whole country was built on that. We should not expect that to be any different. Okay, we should expect for them to play their role on this earth that Esau was playing on his role on earth from the beginning. That his jealousy and hatred towards his brother Jacob led to him trying to kill Jacob, led to him trying to chase them down and destroy him. And it's no different today. No different. What else we got? Any more on that?
It says the parents of one is the parents of one of the men Rittenhouse shot and killed, Anthony Huber,
Yeah.
expressed their dismay about the decision on Friday. Today's verdict means there is no accountability for the person who murdered our son. Karen Bloom and John Huber wrote, it sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, and then use the danger they have created to justify shooting people in the street.
Man, come on. What an article, man. You're talking about them going hunting. Going hunting on us. Getting away with it. And this is echoing the past. You understand? This is what you saw during the slave plantation era, where they used to pay men to go out and hunt us. That's technically what happened here, because how much money did this young kid receive from a GoFundMe after this? They said that they just offered him scholarships and internships and are going to get him to be like a public figure for the case of self-defense. Now, do I agree with self-defense? Anybody should be able to defend their life. But look what you do when you put yourself in that situation. That's like going into a pit of snakes and starting to shoot at all the snakes and cause them all to get mad at you, and then you shooting them and being surprised that they came at you. You put yourself in that pit of snakes. Of course you're going to, and then not only that, you stir things up by shooting at them. Of course they're going to come back at you and try to get you. That's what's going on right here. This is what exactly happened. I think we're good on that article. We didn't need all of it. But what we talked about just now was the parents that were sad to see that their son didn't get any justice. And this is just too common these days. But the truth is, the Most High gave us his judgments. It says, we just read in Psalm chapter 147, verse 20, that he only knows our people. We are the ones that were given the laws. We were the ones that were given the judgments for not keeping those laws. Dang. How many? Now you got to ask yourself this. Now, if these brothers that got killed were not celebrating Christmas, we're not celebrating Thanksgiving, we're celebrating their own culture instead, not celebrating Halloween and all these other things, not eating pork, not smoking weed. You think they still be here today? I'll give you a much better chance of them still being here today, because they would have the mind to be detached and separate and set apart from everybody else that's just going with the flow and trying to do things for the sake of trying to fit in with everybody else. Now, I'm not saying it's not wrong to be, I'm not saying it's wrong to not, to feel upset about a situation like this that's happened. I understand that. But to go out looting and rioting and giving them more of a reason to shoot you, stay away from that. Stay away from that. If anything, that's what's going to give them more fuel to the fire for this tension that we see right here in this country. But if every Black and Hispanic man was in the ISUPK, there would be nobody looting or rioting. There would be no brothers in prison for crimes like this, crimes like dealing drugs and doing all sorts of nonsense. There wouldn't be any of that. In fact, this whole country would fall apart because we're not on the bottom anymore if that were to be the case. This is what we see now. This is where the world is. Slock, you say you had an article? Which one you got?
This is an article from News World Today.
Okay.
It's a KKK leader claim. It says KKK leader claims group has grown at record pace since Trump losing presidency.
Trump losing presidency.
Yeah. Since Trump losing presidency, it's grown. The KKK has grown. That's the title of it.
So what you're saying is that Esau and his seed are trying to find defense among themselves.
Right.
That they're choosing brotherhood amongst themselves. They've chosen their side. They're going to continue to gather together for their people.
Right.
And yet here we are trying to join hands with them and ignore the fact that we're supposed to be coming together with our people. Because Christianity has us so dumb that this book can tell you in plain letters that God loves you and not them. And you still want to try to be friends with them. You still want to try to protest with them. Well, you're going to get shot by them. That's what's going to happen. And that's what we keep seeing over and over and over. Go ahead.
I bet you money. I can bet you money that Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a Christian.
Ooh, now that's a heavy one right there.
Because you know the KKK are Christians.
Yeah. So you follow the same religion as that man that you can't stand because he got away. Ain't that something? Ain't that sad? Do you understand just how messed up you are in this world? The religion that you follow, the holidays that you commit yourself to, they don't have nothing to do with the scriptures. But they do have everything to do with the same thing your oppressor has, what he celebrates. That's how brainwashed we are in this kingdom. What else we got in that article? Did you lose? We had a precept if you want to grab it.
Oh, I got it.
Man, let's get it. I'm ready. We got a couple precepts left. We got two, three.
The Ku Klux Klan has grown faster since Donald Trump's loss of presidency
Oh, go ahead.
than in any time in recent memory. A Klan leader has claimed, and the Klan leader is Imperial Wizard Chris Barker.
Okay.
Right? He says, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I haven't seen the Klan grow at a pace at the pace it's growing now. Chris Barker, an Imperial Wizard of the KKK, told to News America Today. I mean, it's even hard to keep track of the numbers you've got because there's so many coming in.
So you walking around getting groceries from your local store. You going to the DMV to get your license renewed and all this stuff. You going to the gym to work out. You going to the gun range to get a couple shots in. And a lot of these people walking around you are white supremacists in the KKK. And you have no idea. And again, you want to be friends with them when all that's on their mind is destroying you and devouring you because they can't stand you. It's time for you to actually not care about them anymore. You know why? Because it's Christ-like for you to not care about them. It's God-like for you to not care about them. Because when we read in this book that God looks at them like they're spittle, you can bet your bottom dollar, like I said last time, you could bet anything that is a righteous thing for you to feel the same way. Because I bet you anything, they all feel the same way about you, and it ain't a good thing. Because they can't wait to get the opportunity to get their ARs out and go hunting season on all of us. They're just waiting. They're standing back and standing by. You understand? Go ahead.
It says Mr. Barker said that after the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, he received up to 50 applications to join his group in one day. And the next day he received 80. Good
night. Them boys getting about a truckload. They getting platoons of applications every single day. With it gaining in number, you think that's gonna like die down? No, that's gonna pick up. Remember, they are still considered the majority in the king and in this present world. You know what I'm saying? So they're definitely going to try to use that numbers advantage as an advantage. Go ahead.
It said Mr. Barker leads the Loyal White Knights of the KKK, which has less than 2,000 members.
Okay.
As one of the most active Klan groups in the U.S., the group takes part in activism such as burning crosses, advocating for the murder of immigrants, and distributing leaflets claiming, among other things, transgender is an abomination.
Well, they are going to say some things that maybe perhaps the Bible does say, right? Because after all, Christians try to follow those things, but they are liars. I can bet you anything that there's homosexuals in the KKK. I can bet you anything. You know why? Because all they ever do is lie anyways. But it's not up to me to assume these things. It really, what it comes down to is they don't care about us. They really despise us. And this is biblical. This is completely biblical. So it is, of course, biblical for you to understand these things and to not be confused when you see these blatant injustices happening amongst our people. Because guess what? The Most High is showing you this so that he can wake you up to the fact that he cares about you. Because remember, if they hate black people, guess who else they hate? They hated Christ. They hate the Most High. All right, go ahead. Let's get Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. They hate the Most High. They hate everything about it. They despise the fact that he was supposed to get the birthright. He fought his way out the womb first, even though they were twins. So he was trying to claim everything to be his. He has no patience. During the 4th of July and everything, he cooks his food. He probably puts it on the grill for like 10 seconds. Doesn't even use no seasoning or nothing. You might as well just go walk up to the cow and bite him. Because that's what they like to do, because they have no patience at all. Go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13.
Read.
As it is written.
As it is written.
Jacob have I loved.
Who's talking here? The Most High is referring to this, right?
Right.
As it is written, Jacob have I loved. Read.
But Esau have I hated.
But Esau have I hated. There is a people that God loves. And guess what? There is also a people that God hates. There is a people that God made the world and the earth for. And there is a people that God made to be on the bottom of that world. But guess what? It's not supposed to be you, Israel. It's not supposed to be. But you are seeing the result of your disobedience on display for the whole world to become completely indulged in right now. Because everybody's talking about this stuff. But everybody is also confused about why it's happening like this. It makes them lose their faith. It makes them feel as if that what they believe is fake. And it is. But when you come into the truth, it makes complete sense. All of this starts to make sense. Read on. You good? Start from the top. Slaki, go ahead. We're in the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. This, if there's any precept that you need to memorize, it's this right here. Go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved.
Jacob have I loved. Go ahead.
But Esau have I hated.
Have I hated. This is the New Testament telling you this for you Christians out there. You understand? Go ahead.
I thought God loved everybody.
God does not love everybody.
That's exactly what a Christian gonna say. But God loves everybody.
But you show them this scripture and then show them the scripture it's referring to. So you can see that the Old Testament and the New Testament are the exact same. It says, as it is written. Where was it written? Does anybody know?
Yeah, Malachi 1:4.
Let's get it. Malachi 1 and 4. Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. You know what? Yeah, you can just go straight to it. I was going to say start at verse 1 because it gives you more clarity on why the Most High hates Esau. It's important to have the full understanding of it, right? This is why these scriptures are here, because they're supposed to agree with itself. And as we continue to put these precepts together, the Bible starts to agree with itself, so you no longer become confused about what it's saying. But in the Christian church, they don't put it together like that. They put it together in a way that's going to keep you confused. Did you find it? Shoot, I can get it right quick. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, go ahead. Get verse. Is Malachi 1 and 3, 3 and 4. Let's get 3 and 4. Now you go. You remember the book and chapter. You know, so that alone is.
Oh, okay. Can I start at verse 1, sir? I'm gonna start at verse 2.
Come on. Go ahead.
The book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord.
God said, I have loved you. Just like we just read in Romans, it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved. Go ahead.
Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us?
Mm-hmm.
Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord?
Right. Go ahead.
Yet I loved Jacob.
And what else?
Verse 3. And I hated Esau.
He hated Esau. He hated the wickedness that Esau was. He hated the jealousy that Esau has, the injustice that Esau felt and committed against the nation of Israel. It rings throughout time and echoes until today. We see it every single day. We're going to continue to see it until we understand these things and break away from these people. Go ahead.
And laid his mountains to and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Yeah, he let him stay in the jungle where he belonged. God hated him so much, he just wanted him to just be somewhere on the earth that had nothing to do with the glory and satisfaction that comes from seeing us being on top of things. That's what the Most High feels about Esau. We read in the scriptures earlier in the book of 2nd Estrus, the Most High felt that the nations were as if they were nothing. But he specifically says, I can't stand that Esau, man. I created you and you do your job way too good. You're just such a demonic entity on this earth because of what you do against the people that I love. I can't stand you. Go ahead.
Let me keep going.
Come on, verse 4.
Verse 4. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished.
Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished. Go ahead.
But we will return and build the desolate places.
So what was the Dark Ages? Them being impoverished and returning to rebuild the desolate places. What was them during the Industrial Revolution? It was them being impoverished and returning to build their desolate places. What was the American economy after the the Great Depression? It was them being impoverished and returning to build upon their desolate places. This keeps happening to them, and they keep rebuilding it at our demise. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Go ahead.
They shall build.
They shall what?
They shall build.
They shall build. Go ahead.
But I will throw down.
But who will throw down?
But saith the Lord of hosts.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So you got to understand too, all of the court systems that they've built, all of the houses and schools and restaurants and everything that they've built is going to be thrown down, is going to be cast down. The Lord of hosts says it. So you best believe that it's going to happen. You better understand that these precepts are real, man. Everything going on in this world right now is a direct echo of what the scriptures are saying. And when you look, you turn your eye and your ear away from hearing and seeing this from happening to try to ignore it, our people are just hung up trying to escape reality with drugs, trying to escape reality with overindulging in things that are substances that are going to keep their mind dull. Well, no longer are we going to do that when we begin to wake up to the fact that this book is so real. Everything going on right now applies to us. And it's all happening because the Most High loves us and hates these people that are treating us wrong. Go ahead. But I will throw down. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down.
I will throw down. Go ahead.
And they shall call them the border of wickedness.
You know what that is? The border of wickedness? They are the complete outline of how to be wicked. Now, the whole world is looking at the American judicial system as wicked because of what they saw that was on display. While they're cheering and hollering about this injustice, about getting away with that murder, about this young champion in their nation getting away with killing 2 black men, the whole world is looking and saying, surely this is the border of wickedness. Surely these people that are in control of this nation are just terrible at doing their job. To where, especially America, they become the laughing stock of the world. The whole world is just amazed at how wicked they are. Go ahead.
And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation against, Salakia. The people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
Come on now. That's what you got to understand. The Most High hates Esau forever, man. Forever. Because of the wickedness that they commit. Because of the injustices that they continuously put upon us. The whole world is seeing this. And the Most High is going to continue to just give you these examples so that when the time comes where he destroys this man and destroys his throne, you're going to understand why. Your spirit is going to understand why he deserves it.
Right.
That's going to be the day of real justice. The day of the Lord, that's the court day that we're waiting for in the Israelite school of UPK. To heck with these court dates now. We're waiting for Christ's court date with the white man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're waiting for those days to come. Because we know that when that happens, then the fulfillment of us being in dominion over this world and the reason why this world was created for us, then those things can finally happen.
That's right.
It won't happen until men are ready to lead. So that's what we need to build, Israel. That's what we're here for in the school. It should be you. We should have brothers and sisters lining up by the 50s, by the 80s, by the hundreds to apply to be in the Israelite school of UPK. But we are few in number among the heathen. And among the heathen, they're lining up to join their military, to join their white supremacist cause because they can't wait to get the chance to go get their AR-15 and walk around while we're out here acting a fool, not knowing better, and protesting on these streets for all these injustices.
They call us.
Go ahead.
They call us racist.
They call us racist.
You're a racist.
Because we are reading the Bible and we're reading what God says.
The Isupk has never hurt anybody.
When has anybody in the UPK been the aggressor in a situation like that? Never. Never, because we follow orders and we are wise men in doing so. And we are operating in this kingdom in a way that allows us to continue to teach and raise our brothers up. And we don't have to worry about trying to physically harm our enemies. We don't have to worry about that because this warfare that we face is not physical. It's spiritual. And that battle is won when you keep your head in this book. That battle is won when you check into class. The battle is won when you study these precepts and write them down. It's time for us to win. What you saw the other day when that court case was concluded was a small victory for them, but know that their victories are going to come to an end because God said he will cast down what they rebuild. That's what that scripture is talking about. What was in verse? Let's go ahead and see verse 5 real quick.
Verse 5.
Nah, you good. Go ahead.
Verse 5. and your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel.
The border of Israel will be magnified in the Most High, because his will is going to be shining through us. Because we're no longer going to be protesting on the streets, because none of us are going to be getting killed on the streets, because none of us are going to be committing crime on the streets. And there won't be no more drug dealing anymore. There won't be no more whoring and disgustingness and adultery amongst our people anymore. It's almost like I could see it coming, man. I could see that world taking shape when I'm in the school, when I'm around my people. I'm seeing that happen. I just wish to see it at a larger scale already, but I know that where we are, a lot of our people are going to end up having to perish with the rest of these heathen out here, because they are unwilling to change. They're unwilling to take that step. They don't have the strength that it takes to overcome their lusts and their flaws. And this is why the Most High is continuously punishing them. Lord be with them.
I got a precept.
Go ahead, please.
The book of Ezekiel,
Mm-hmm.
chapter 35, verse 5.
Read.
Because thou has had a perpetual hatred
There we go.
and shed. I'm gonna start at verse 4. I'm gonna start at verse 4.
Mhm.
I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate.
Come on now.
And the Lord and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel
Exactly. Go ahead.
by the force of the sword.
By the force of the what?
Of the sword.
Of the M16.
Of the sword.
Of the M4 carbine.
Of the sword.
Of the 9mm pistol held by the police.
Of the sword.
Of the multiple tasers that they put in your back and in your stomach.
Of the sword.
Of the court systems that lead up to everything from us being put in jail and in like manner.
Of the sword.
All of these weapons that are used against us is because of their perpetual hatred against the children of Israel. But guess what? The Most High has a hatred towards those people that hate us. Just like King David said, do I hate them that hate thee, O Lord? You ought to have some pride in your own people. You ought to have preference for your own people. You know why? Because God has preference for the nation of Israel.
Right.
Is there any more on that?
Come on.
Go ahead.
In the time of their calamity.
In the time of their what?
Calamity.
When I'm poor and I got health issues, when I can't barely even breathe because I got asthma, and you choking me and you killing me. When I have anxiety like George Floyd did, and you got your knee on my neck, what am I doing? What am I in? I'm in my calamity. And you still, with your perpetual hatred, are going to use your sword to destroy me. The Most High is watching you, Esau. He's watching you the way that you judge the earth. And you suck at it, to be honest. You're terrible at it. You don't deserve to be in rulership. But guess what? He's raising real men that deserve that rulership.
Right.
What you got for him?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, any more on that precept?
Come on.
Go ahead.
In the time that their iniquity had an end.
And the time their iniquity had an end. And the time we're supposed to be cleaning up. This is that we're in our grace period. This is the time where we get the chance to get right. Go ahead.
Verse 6.
Verse 6. Go ahead.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord.
The Most High, the Ancient of Days, he lives forever. And he says that as I live, go ahead.
Saith the Lord God,
Mm-hmm.
I will prepare thee unto blood.
You prepare Kyle Rittenhouse unto blood. Prepare the killers of George Floyd unto blood. Prepare the Zimmerman who took out Trayvon Martin unto blood. Prepare those Romans, those Greeks that hurt my people in the land of Israel in 70 AD unto blood. Those people that had my people on slave ships whipping their backs so that they kept using the paddle to move the boat, and then throwing them off the edge when they were too sick to even row the boat. Prepare them unto blood. You think they're getting away with that, even though they're technically dead? Nah, they ain't getting away with it. Just because that body's gone doesn't mean they got another one. Just like with us. Those very same people that you're seeing out there killing and slaughtering us, and in the court system betting against us, choosing not guilty against us, are the same people from back then that are doing the same things as back then. That perpetual hatred has never left their spirit. This is the scriptures we're talking about right here. You're talking about real life, and we're reading it. We're reading the prophecies here. We're reading the history here. And without knowing the history, you're not going to understand what's going on nowadays. But you can understand it now when you watch a class like this to get that perspective all the way through. Any more on that?
Wow.
Go ahead.
I will prepare thee unto blood.
It will prepare you unto blood for your perpetual hatred. Go ahead.
And blood shall pursue thee.
And blood shall pursue thee. Go ahead.
Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
That's right. Because you seek that glory. You seek that warfare, that blood, that fight. Oh, you gonna get your fight. I'm telling you right now, when the Most High brings his army of hosts, the Lord of hosts comes down with on his throne with his wheels of fire. That's the fight that's gonna scare everything out of your pants, Esau. I don't think you're ready for that, but you sure do puff up your chest like you're ready for that.
That's it, sir.
All right, come on. Last scripture. We're going to get Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Go ahead.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Who is this addressed to?
O children of Israel.
No, it's addressed to the whole world.
O children of Israel.
The Chinese.
O children of Israel.
White man.
O children of Israel.
Who's the real Israelites? The blacks, Hispanics, and the Native American Indians. From the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Listen good. Listen to this. Go ahead.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt.
You know, the Native Americans used to tell their children about their family coming up out of the land of Egypt. Did you know that those people that were on the west coast of Africa that were put on slave ships knew that they were brought up out of the land of Egypt? We're talking to you, Israel. Go ahead.
Saying, verse 2, you only have I known.
Who? You what?
You only have I known.
Yo, man, imagine you have your homies, right? You go out to the club, you go out when you out and about, and you see your partners, those dudes that you know. You don't care about everybody else. I was like, man, I know you. I'm going to go shake your hand. I'm going to buy you a drink. I'm going to make sure you good. The Most High says right here, you only have I known. Go ahead.
Of all the families of the earth.
There's a lot of families on the earth after Noah repopulated the earth. Shem, Ham, and Japheth spread. Boom. All that. A lot of families we're talking about. But he's talking to Israel only. Go ahead.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
And that's the punishment that you're seeing on these media sites, on television. The whole world is seeing this. The whole world is confused why this is happening. But now you understand completely that this is happening because the Most High chose you. Because he owns you. Because he wants you to be the righteous men that lead this world, that lead this planet. Righteous men and women, princes and princesses and kings and prophets that are to rule this earth in righteousness. Because the present evil world that we're under, we have the wrong rulership. And everybody in this world, under this rulership is in mourning right now because they see these atrocities happening, these blatant, foul things that are happening under their rulership, which is unfair to ours.
Right.
How much more evidence do you need for you to understand that the Most High chose you to be a peculiar people unto himself? Because when we come back into our nation, our inheritance, our identity, they get afraid.
Right.
They start grouping up in them KKK rallies. They start putting the craziest people as presidents. So don't be bamboozled by none of that, because the Most High is doing this to get you right. But you don't have all the time left in the world to get right. You should be having the the initiative and the urgency to make sure that you aren't destroyed in this craziness that's going on. So with that, we are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commander General Yohana, we are here to teach the truth of the Bible, and that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the real Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And today we're talking about the fact that the Most High chose Israel because God only cares about Israel. Is that a racist thing to say? Yes, it is, because we're seeing a very racist world right now. And the truth of the matter is, as confusing as it is for you brothers and sisters out there that don't know better, the Most High loves you more than all of them. So with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Kabar for the security announcements.
These are the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Or Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of any increase of the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever the amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. The Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, will be celebrated on the 25th day of the 9th month.
That's right.
By the space of 8 days. November 28th, Sunday, November 28th, 2021, for 8 days. You can find this in 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verses 52 through 61. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. And this concludes the security announcements.
On sign Christ.
I do it.
Yeah, you can do it. It's fine. Sir, turn and face the east. We're gonna sing. We're gonna say the ancient prayer for the Lord's Prayer in the ancient Hebrew. Okay, whenever you're ready, other one.
Abanawa.
Shabbat
Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakwaka.
Taba'ah.
Ratazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Barataza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashemayim. Nathanaw. Lakam. Hall. Yawam. Wasalaklanau. Kabawafnau. Kasalaknau. Kabawafnau. Wala. Tabaayanaw. Banasaiwan. Abal. Hayashayanau. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Wa'ala. Wa'ata pa'ara. I will love you. Amen. Now we're going to do the Lord's Prayer in English.
Okay.
Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
thy kingdom come.
thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily
And
bread.
forgive us our debt
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our
as we
debtors.
forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom
and the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and the glory
forever so be it.
forever so be it. All right, so we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Amadim Shabbat, Amadim, Barak, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Brakatham, Yahya Matah. All right, turn to face the sisters. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Amadim Shabbat, Amadim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Al-Than Bashem Yahushua, Yahya Matah. Class dismissed.